the kitchen. I love it so much, the heart of the home. This was designed by the architects who did the house, Roman and Williams. They're an amazing design firm in New York. And they did all of the architecture. And they had done my apartment in New York City, which I don't have anymore. They had done this kitchen there for me, which I lived in this kitchen. It was bright and airy and white, and it had a lot of these similar details, like in the cabinetry. So I wanted to pull in some elements from the kitchen that they had done for us there, cabinetry being one, and also having the range be in the middle of the room, because I cook so much and I spent so much of my time facing the wall, and my kids would be in the room. So when it's like this, you have the opportunity to cook and chat with people. This is Portuguese tile. It's reclaimed tile that Robin from Roman and Williams found. And I just look for those little elements to kind of bring some texture and some homey feeling in. We also put the fireplace in, which is like such a luxury to be able to have a wood burning fireplace in your kitchen. You know, it does take me back to my days living in the UK. I had 2 wood burning fireplaces in the kitchen. And it was just such an important element of like beating those cold, dark winters. And I just got so used to having the fires on all the time. So when Robin and Stephen and I came to sit down and design the house, you know, I said, I'd love to have, if it's possible, I'd love to have a fireplace in the kitchen.
Hello, I'm Leanne Wood, host of the KBIS Next Stage, and now we're thrilled to present our next conversation, Wellness in Design. Please welcome to the stage Richard Aniskevich, who serves as Creative Director of Monogram and Senior Designer at Design Galleria Kitchen and Bath Studio. Richard is joined by Bridget Romanek, a celebrated designer and founder of Romanek Design Studios, who has been featured in the AD 100 for the past 4 years and Elle Decor's A-List in 2020 and 2021. She has a star-studded client list, and her design is the cover story of the March issue of Architectural Digest. Please join me in welcoming Richard and Bridget.
All right. Thank you, Leanne. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Bridget, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. We're
Thanks for
so
having me.
glad you could be here with us today.
My pleasure.
And thank you to the viewers at home who are tuning in to the Monogram live stream. We're so glad you could join us as well. And now, it is my honor to introduce our featured guest. She is the definition of multi-hyphenate. She is an Oscar-winning actress, a best-selling cookbook author, singer, and entrepreneur, serving as the CEO and founder of Goop. As you can see from the gorgeous images on the screen, she is also on the cover of Architectural Digest's new March issue, which features her gorgeous Montecito home. Today we'll be chatting about the incredible kitchen and how she integrated wellness into the design, including custom Monogram appliances. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please give a warm round of applause for Gwyneth Paltrow.
Hi.
Gwyneth Paltrow, we miss you here in person, but we're lucky to have you virtually. Thank you for joining.
I want to start by saying I'm so heartbroken not to be there. Unfortunately, I have a confirmed case of COVID, so I'm under quarantine. And I was really, especially looking forward to just the plane ride with Bridget, but oh well. We'll have to, this is modern times, I guess.
I missed you too.
Well, we're excited to have you here virtually. Thank you. Our topic today is wellness in design. And you've carved your name as an authority in the subject matter. Wellness is a really buzzy word right now. So what does wellness mean to you? And how do you keep it authentic?
Well, I think, I always approach this idea of wellness from a very holistic kind of 360 approach. I really believe that we can all do little things in our lives every day to make us feel better, mentally, spiritually, physically. And, for me, I am committed to doing the things that also make me feel good in my body, hydration and meditation and trying to eat relatively clean food, but also the importance of being around people that I love, and that's to me the biggest pillar in wellness is, to have love around, love yourself, forgive yourself, love those around you. And yeah.
And in your wellness journey, was there an aha moment for you? Where did it begin?
It really began, unfortunately, when my father was diagnosed with cancer quite a while ago now. And that's when I started to really contemplate the idea that we could impact the way that we feel, and we could impact how we went through the world, essentially. And so that's when I started experimenting with healthier food and detoxes and going to, silent retreats and all that kind of thing, like almost in an effort to try to heal my dad by proxy, who really wasn't interested in wellness. He just wanted to get back to, feeling good. And that meant eating Malamars and, back like his, coffee and his sugar and everything like that. So it's just been, it's been a really interesting journey. Like, he really was the person who sparked the curiosity that we could impact our own lives positively, and he set me on the most fascinating journey through his own struggle, really.
Wow. Bridget, you and Gwyneth have been friends for a long time. So talk to us about the development of the Montecito project.
Well, it was really an organic process because she was working in the house and really doing a fantastic job. She really knows what she wants and what she's looking for. And me knowing her so well, she kind of said, hey, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? And then began the conversation. And then she said, hey, why don't you come and see the house? And I did. And we went from there and never looked back. And we had an amazing time doing it. It was really fun.
Oh, it's stunning.
Thank you.
So, Gwyneth, what were your priorities in the development of the home and the idea of incorporating wellness?
Well, since it was a ground up build, I really wanted to incorporate a few certain things, like having the kitchen kind of in the heart of the house, especially when you have teenagers who retreat to their rooms all the time. If you stay in the kitchen, you'll find that you'll see them more. So having an open kitchen, and also just imagining the house being really accessible to the inside and outside. That's an aspect of California wellness that's so wonderful, that, putting in big doors so you can live outside among citrus trees and getting fresh air, getting the ocean breeze. And that was kind of those were really the elements of trying to figure out, like, how do we want to live in this house? Like, what do we want the days to feel like?
So, Bridget, from the design lens, how did you kind of take those priorities and bring them to fruition?
Well, I think of it this way in design when I'm working with clients, and especially someone like Gwyneth, where everything that my client tells me of what's important to them, it's like having ingredients and putting it all in a pot and trying to come out with a really great meal,
Sure.
And so that's how I think about it. And so hearing what was important to her, how she needed to function, and how her beautiful family needed to function in this space, all of that came together, and it just made us so that everything we did was very intentional. So there's nothing that is not precise, picked for a very certain reason, and so that was the way we brought it all together. The colors, the placement of the windows, the placement of the appliances, the stoves, the placement of everything was a way to create a space that was able to be enjoyed. And she really, really does cook. She'll offer you food the minute you get in the door, which is great. And so a space where she could be with friends and with family. And so it's great.
That's
Really
awesome.
Yeah.
And could you speak kind of, again, from that design lens, high level within your own design work, how do you factor in wellness?
Oh. Wellness is such a huge part of the conversation for me because my job as a designer is to help my clients live their best lives. And I can do that by working with you guys and us coming up with what is really the best way for them. And one's home should be their love letter to themselves. And so
I love that.
that's what that's the way I believe it. It should be a place where you can exhale when you get in from your day. And so it's always been a part of the conversation, even without it being, in words, but just really listening to what's important to them, and that's how we dive in. That's part of the design brief for me always.
Sure. So we're here at the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show, so let's
Yes.
talk kitchen. There are fantastic details throughout the space. The fluted plaster hearth, the unique ceiling details, the library rail, the blue plateware marble wall. I definitely kind of put on my design nerd, geeked out. There's a really beautiful space. So we all know that construction is never a linear process, and there's always some hurdles and a journey along the way, and these are other professionals in the industry. So could you both kind of talk about maybe some challenges you faced on this project?
What do you mean? No.
How long is this panel? I think, as I said, it was a ground up build. Of course, in Montecito, we had all kinds of issues. Like Mother Nature had a lot to say during the course of this. There were fires, there were floods up there. Then we had COVID. So we had a lot of hurdles and obstacles in getting the house done. But you know what? It was actually a really beautiful lesson for me in kind of letting go and in patience and just saying, it'll be done when it's done, and just kind of acceptance. And I'm not a patient person at all. But this was actually good for me. It really forced me to, be sanguine about the whole thing. And also we had a great construction crew who were just like perfectionists. And so the work they were doing was so beautiful that even if we had delays or, appliances weren't being able to be delivered or whatever the case may be from the supply chain stuff, like it was always encouraging because between Bridget and Matt and Devin, who we built the actual house with, it was like, oh, we're doing something that's going to be beautiful when it's done.
Yeah, that's amazing. You had a phenomenal team of architects and contractors as well on the project. So Gwyneth, at the heart of your kitchen, centrally located, is the Monogram 48-inch professional range. Talk to us about why the placement of that range and the proximity of the room and the space plan was so important to you.
Well, I talked about this in the video, but it's really true. So I think for people who cook or parents who cook specifically, you spend so much of your time facing the wall, and kids are kind of around, or you've guests. Like a lot of times I'll be cooking, and even in my house in LA, for example, like I face the wall and people are coming and having a drink or an hors d'oeuvre. And I had an apartment in New York that I don't have anymore, but one of the things I loved the most about it was that the range faced out, which was something that I specifically wanted to do when I renovated that kitchen. I had toddlers at that point, so I really wanted to have eyes on them. But I just loved the outcome of feeling like it was a dialogue between me and whoever was there. So when we did the architectural plan, I said, it's a really important element for me. I would really love to be facing out so that I can cook. And then the range that we have is like huge and beautiful, and it's super easy to use. And so it's just like a really pleasant experience. It's like beautiful light and facing out, and then you've got this beautiful appliance, and it's such a good experience in there.
Well, it's extremely well executed. I think that's always kind of a challenge in kitchen design that we all can appreciate, where often if you want that more centrally localized cooktop, you really have to think about the proximity of it to adjacent elements, the volume of space, and the execution of your hood and ventilation and everything is extremely well done.
Thank you so much.
So Gwyneth, are you game for a lightning round?
Sure.
All right, lightning round of questions. Here we go. Sweet
For
or
both
savory?
of us or just me?
Just you.
Okay.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
MVP cooking tip.
Always let your protein get to room temperature before you put it in the oven or in the pan.
Ah, very cool. Kitchen trend you think should die?
Wow, I don't really know. I think everybody's entitled to, do their dream kitchen. So
Sure.
I'm not sure there's one that I want to die.
Monogram appliance you can't live without.
Oh my gosh, I can't live without my professional range. It's honestly the best. I've cooked on a million ranges, and this thing is like the best thing by far that I've ever cooked on.
Ah, we love that. Thank you.
It's really true. I'm obsessed with it, and it's beautiful.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us here today. It was a sincere pleasure. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to check out Gwyneth's beautiful Montecito home and the cover of the issue of AD, designed by Bridget in collaboration with Gwyneth's trusted architects and contractors. This is just the beginning of Monogram's partnership with Gwyneth, so stay tuned for more exciting projects throughout this year. And follow Monogram on social media and join in on the fun. And of course, please stop by our Monogram brand experience to check out the latest innovations. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.